Welcome everybody, and today we're going to be looking at the pickups that I've gotten from Our Video's latest Easter sale. So it's got a few more days left on it. I've bought a fair few from them, a few that I've already seen, but most of which are blind buys that, being cheaper, I can take the risk on them now. We'll go through the ones that I have already seen, and then we'll look at the ones that were blind buys or are blind buys. Purely, I have seen one of the ones that I hadn't seen before since purchasing them. So firstly, we'll look at the ones that I had seen long before buying. First of which is White of the Eye. Now, this is a pretty decent horror thriller kind of film. Has some aspects to it that don't work, but most of the film actually does. And it's got pretty brutal killing, at least one scene that I can remember from. And it's a double disc as well, Blu-ray and DVD. And it's a pretty solid film. Not my favourite Arrow Video release. I give it a solid 3 stars though out of 5, which is pretty decent. And I do recommend at least renting it or streaming it on Arrow Video Player. Then we have Phantasm. Now, I know a lot of people love this film. I enjoy it enough. Nice solid 3.5 star film. But I do prefer its sequel a bit more. Unfortunately, that hasn't had a single release yet. So, unfortunately, do not have that myself. But yeah, it's only a single release. I imagine the entire series box set has a bit more to it, or if there was a limited edition version of this originally, I don't know, but still got a nice restoration on it, and it is a solid film. Definitely one of the more weirder and out there horror films from the 70s. This came out in 1979, was it? Yeah. So if you compare it to something like Halloween or The Fog or something like that from around that same period, it's definitely a far more visually out there kind of film. Then also from the 80s, just like White of the Eye, which came out in 1989, I think it was. No, 1986. This is also from 1986. The Wind. Now, this is again a solid 3-star film. It's got a good setup, good score, and it's got some decent set pieces to it, but it doesn't wholly come together. But again, nice single disc release. You also get a booklet with this, which I wasn't expecting, given these are hardly the limited edition first run of the print of the films, so I wasn't expecting anything extra with this. But yeah, the cast is good as well. You got Meg Foster and Wing Salzer in it, as well as Steve Railsbeck, who was the lead in Life Force, which is one of my favourite films that Our Video have shown me too. So got pictures of the film inside, and a write-up by Kat Ellinger called Tourist Traps and Vacations from Hell, Grecian Holiday Nightmares in the Cinema of Nico Mastorakis. So it's set in Greece, directed by a Greek, and it's restored in a 2K resolution as well. So looks pretty good on that restoration. Then one film that I hadn't seen before buying it, but have seen since I purchased it, The Incredible Melting Man. Now, this was released by Our Video in 2014. The film itself came out in 1977. And the practical and makeup effects on this are superb. Easily able to rival, the kind of peak of the 80s in terms of that kind of aspect. But unlike some films from the 80s that had really good practical effects, the plot, the pacing, and some of the production choices in terms of where the film is set just don't match up to those practical and makeup effects. But they are great, and there are some solid set pieces to it. And it does have a fun enough finale, but it just takes itself a little bit too seriously for my liking. So Blu-ray and DVD. When researching this film after watching it, I did hear that it was originally supposed to be a more comedic horror kind of film, but then the studio thought a straight horror would be more successful at the box office, and sadly it was not, and ultimately we didn't get a great film out of it, but still solid enough effort. And then the rest of these I have not seen, and hopefully will be good. First of which is a double bill of The Invisible Man Appears and The Invisible Man versus the Human Fly, both of which are Japanese, both of which one of which at least predates the 50s sci-fi romp in America of sci-fi horror films, as it came out in 1949, but then the second one came out in 1957. But yeah, I'm hoping these are good. I am into my kind of Japanese kind of films. I just hope these are able to match up to those kind of efforts. Sure, I don't expect it to, you know, rival the classics from Japan, like Godzilla or, you know, Seven Samurai or whatever like that, but it should hopefully be good enough. And I am into my whole Invisible Man lore. I do apologise, I seem to have dropped the buckle. First time for everything, I guess. Let me get it. But yeah, single disc release with both films on that disc. So yeah, I would have preferred them to be individual, make it a little bit more special. But yeah, you get the new artwork on here. I don't think, no, you don't get the original artwork. But then again, might not have been able to actually find that. And yeah, there's a few write-ups on the film. You got the cast and crew of both of the films being detailed. And you have Invisible Man in Japan by Keith Allison, Invisible Men, Ghosts of the Post-War Era by Haley Scanlon, and E.G. Tsubura, the special effects man, appears by Tom Vincent, most of which are new write-ups. And then you have write-up on the transfer as well, which again I think is at a high definition scan of both of it. I imagine these weren't, you know, well preserved after their initial release, because, you know, they don't sound like the kind of film that would have, you know, been beloved at the time, but certainly should have a cult following nowadays. So yeah, really looking forward to watching both of them at some point. Then we have The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. Now, I've not seen anything from the director, Emilio P. Miragali, or Miraglia, or whatever, but I have heard good things about this, and yeah, I am into my Giallo films, so I'm really looking forward to this, to be honest. And yeah, got a decent cast, I think. Got Rudolf Schlundler, who was apparently in The Exorcist and Suspiria, so that is at least a couple of films that I've heard of before. But yeah, never seen anything from the director before. But you do have Sybil Danning in it, who was decent in Howling 2, but the rest of that film was pretty awful. So yeah, I hope it's a good film. But then again, I didn't only spend $8.99 on this, so I'm not going to be losing out too much if I don't end up liking it. But did sound like a solid effort. And then we have something radically different to the rest. We've had Giallo, we've had horror, we've had sci-fi, and we've had, you know, whatever Phantasm can be classed as. But then we have Montparnasse 19. So yeah, this is a drama about the Italian painter and sculptor Amedeo Mondigali, yeah, about the last part of his life basically. And yeah, not sure why this came up on my radar, but it was on my watch list, and I went through my watch list when it came to buying films from Arrow Video and saw this was on it. So I figured let's take the jump with it, and hopefully we'll get something good out of it. So yeah, single disc release. This was released by Arrow Academy, who have now, you know, merged into Arrow Video as one entity rather than being separate. And yeah, you get a nice booklet with it as well. So yeah, I'm not sure about this at all. I don't think I've seen anything from the director before. Oh yeah, Max Offel's, I saw The Reckless Moment, that was released by Indicator, which I think I've shown before. So yeah, I've seen something from him before, and that was a decent film noir, so hopefully this is a good drama. And you got a write-up as well by David Jenkins called Reclining Nude Notes on Jacques Becker's Montparnasse 19, then about the transfer and cast and crew. So yeah, digitally restored from the original elements, you got shots from the film, so yeah, hopefully that's a surprise watch. And then finally, we have the Kinji Fukushisaku collection. Now, granted, you can buy all 3 of these films separately, but not only did I get 10% off Zavvi, but also the price itself had been lowered in the Easter sale. So I ended up getting it for $27, whereas if they were bought separately at $8.99, it would have worked out to about that amount anyway. So I may as well have got it with, you know, the nice box around it and everything. So yeah, this has 3 films in the this box set. Street Mobster from 1972. 1972, I'm pretty sure it is. And yeah, not seen either of these, so not entirely sure what I'm getting in for, but again, like Invisible Man, I said when Invisible Man appears, I've been getting really into my Japanese films in the last year or so. So yeah, looking forward to that. The poster, the new artwork on that looks really nice. And then we have Cops and Thugs. I think this is from 1975. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, what twigged me to this is that it says like the great crime films of Sidney Lumet and Jean-Pierre Melville, and since I'm a big fan of both of those directors, especially in terms of Melville, as you will have seen in my previous update video about which included the box set of his films, then yeah, hopefully it's going to be a more violent version of those kind of films. Really, it is an 18, so I'm expecting plenty of violence out of that. And then finally we have Doberman Cop. Again, no idea what this is going to be like. This is the only one that isn't rated 18 out of the lot. It's rated 15, but 15 can still get away with quite a lot in the UK. If you've seen The Northman, for instance, which I recently watched, which is an excellent recent release, that is only rated a 15 in the UK, and that has a lot of beheadings and even someone's guts falling out. So yeah, overall, a really nice collection. Not the strongest of boxes or anything like that. I imagine this had a a more higher quality limited edition version of it at some point, but yeah, still a nice collection, and hopefully 3 films that are going to be really good. So yeah, 3 films in that box set, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there. So 11 films overall. Obviously that includes the 2 in the Invisible Man appears release there. So yeah, a nice haul really. Hopefully going to enjoy all of these films that I haven't seen. But Phantasm, The Wind, White of the Eye, and Incredible Melting Man, despite any of their flaws, are decent watches regardless. So yeah, I'm hoping the ones that I haven't seen end up being even better. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'd like to see what you've bought from this recent sale, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.